What are the living documents? They are your durable powers of attorney for finances, for healthcare matters, and your advance medical directive, which is also known as a living will. It's not a will, but it is your medical directive. So let's take a moment to talk about those. But before I do, your revocable living trust, if you have one, is kind of this hybrid combination. It's in effect while you're alive, but it's also directs where your assets go upon your death. So it serves in both ways. Whereas your will only takes effect on your death. So let's talk about these documents. Powers of attorney. What are they? Why are they important? Why do you need them? It is all of our hope that during our lifetimes, we will never need a durable power of attorney. It's my hope that for the rest of my life, I am in charge of my financial decisions, bill paying, etc., and that I am able to speak to my doctors about my health care and that nobody else has to speak for me. I'm sure that's all of our hope, that, we're in control of our lives as much as we can be for the rest of our lives. But let's look at what is more possible, if not probable. It is not that uncommon. Well, if you've undergone surgery, you know that if you're out, nobody's speaking for you. If something has to be, if guidance needs to be given about what decisions should be made during your procedure, because something happened, a complication, you can't speak, there needs to be somebody that you have designated to speak to your doctors about your treatment. That is what we call your health care agent or your health care attorney, in fact. That is the person that you designate to speak for you on your behalf under your health care durable power of attorney. Now, if you've gone to the hospital for surgery, the hospital actually even gives you sometimes a one-page form that they want you to fill out because they know they need somebody to talk to if they can't talk with you. That healthcare power of attorney that the hospital provides for you is not a substitute for a well thought out power of attorney for your estate plan. It is intended for the convenience of the hospital. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It's a good idea if you don't have one, but you should have a better power of attorney form than that one pager or two pager that the hospital gives you. But that's the reason that they give it to you, is that they want to be prepared to speak to somebody if they can't talk to you. So most of us have had some experience with, surgeries or with medical procedures where we're out and the healthcare provider needs to speak to somebody whom we designate to be our voice. Less common, but still it happens, it still happens, is what if somebody needs to take over for you for your finances? And you're going, why would somebody need to take over for my finances? That doesn't make sense. Well, the reason is that maybe you've been in some accident with a long-term incapacity, or maybe a stroke, maybe dementia, Alzheimer's, something that's not going to remedy itself and it's going to get progressively worse and worse. You're going to want to have in place before such event occurs, before you lose capacity, your durable power of attorney for financial matters. You want to designate someone who will speak for you with regard to your financial matters, who can pay your bills, who, if necessary, can sell your house if it has to be sold. Whatever you would do, you want to give authority to somebody else whom you trust to take actions on your behalf. That's a durable power of attorney for financial matters. And again, as I started out mentioning, nobody wants that, but guess what? It happens more and more as people age, especially with cognitive decline. It's very important to have that durable power of attorney for finances. What happens if you didn't take any action, you didn't get your durable powers of attorney in place, and you have lost capacity, you've lost the ability to manage your own affairs? This is what I mentioned earlier. You've got the state's plan, not your plan, the state's plan. What is the state's plan? The state's plan is what is called a conservatorship or guardianship. It is when you are subject to the court's jurisdiction, you're declared incapacitated. The court appoints somebody to act on your behalf. It could be somebody that you know and trust. For example, a spouse could be appointed as the guardian or conservator for the incapacitated spouse, or it could be somebody that you have never met before. And they are in charge of your finances and of your health care. Now, they're subject to the supervision of the court, mind you. So they're reporting to the court, they're getting paid, reports are going in front of the court. Are you hearing me saying court a lot? It is an intrusive procedure, especially during your lifetime, to have the court, basically the state, in charge of your business. So the state's plan isn't the plan that I would recommend for you. I would recommend for you your plan where you designate who you trust to act on your behalf. And just as an aside, don't just designate one person, designate a successor, and then another successor after that, if you can, because what estate planning is all about is planning for the what ifs. So if you are spouses and one of you becomes incapacitated, you've designated the other spouse, great. They can speak for you. Just being married, by the way, does not give authority to speak for your spouse. So you have a durable power of attorney, you've designated your spouse. Okay, that sounds good. But what if both of you are in that car accident and both of you are incapacitated? You need to have a successor person named to speak on your behalf as your attorney in fact. And I always like to dig a little deeper and go to the next level, a third person as well. Why these documents are so important is if anything happens to you during your lifetime, you and through people you trust are keeping control over your life. The state, the court isn't involved. I think it's so important. The other living document that I want to talk about is specifically related to healthcare. It is your advance directive, your medical directive, healthcare directive, living will. Every state has a different way that they say it, but basically what it is, it's that document that you sign while you are able, and you say, if I'm at end of life, if the doctors have put in writing that I'm in a permanent vegetative condition or I have a terminal condition and medical treatment is not going to make me better, what kind of medical interventions do I want? Do I want all sorts of interventions, kept on breathing tubes, machinery, feeding tubes, even though I'm not going to get better? Or would I prefer to have any type of treatment like that withdrawn, just give me comfort measures and allow me to pass peacefully? And you might think, well, I don't really need that. Everybody in my family knows what my preference is. I've already stated that. I want you to think back to the Terry Schiavo case out of Florida a few years back now, where she was a young woman. Her husband believed she wanted one thing. Her parents believed she wanted another thing. And this whole drama played its way out, not only in the media, but through the Florida legislature, through the courts. It was, why do we even know the name of this woman who suffered issues? Because she didn't have an advance directive and she didn't have a durable power of attorney for healthcare. Had she had that, there wouldn't have been any of this media attention to her. Why didn't she have it? Well, I think one of the most, it's very common that people in their 20s have no estate planning documents. People in their 30s, maybe they have some. Maybe they just have a will because they have minor kids and they, wanted to get something really inexpensive. And they did it online, or they didn't take the time to find an attorney, invest in the attorney, and get a really good plan. I find that as people age through decades, they're more likely to get better plans and better plans and better plans. So someone who is in their younger decades might not really think that they need anything, yet we've seen that sometimes it's really important. So the durable powers of attorney for healthcare, for finances, the healthcare directive, those are the fundamental living documents everybody needs if you're an adult.